don't know how much of the alternate world that people are going to see in the next season, um, which was a really interesting plot twist and very well written, I thought, and it made sense with the story, but it was a little bit tough because I love alt-astrid. I love all the alt characters.
Right.
And I really liked Alt Lincoln, and it's a real shame that he's not around anymore because I thought he was really great. So yeah, there's a really huge plot point involving the alternate universe that you'll see before the season is done.
I mean, obviously you've been playing Astrid for 4 seasons, but you've been playing alt-astrid on and off for 2 years. So if she was to go away, you'd be losing.
It was like saying goodbye. But that's the weird part of it, is that, you know, when you are playing two characters in one show, you've still got, you know, whatever you've been doing,
Yeah.
and then you have this other part. So, but also this is the world of Fringe.
You never know.
Which we have established that nobody can anticipate what is going to come next. And so that's kind of the saving grace with everything. Whenever you say goodbye to a character or a place or whatever, you don't really know how long that goodbye's going to be for.
But you've also lost part of the original Astrid, because the Astrid that we knew for 3 seasons is kind of not totally the Astrid that we've been presented with this season.
Yeah, and you know, I think that she is the same Astrid, because, you know, there was a whole scene with the Observer and Peter, and he says, you know, that is your Olivia, this is your timeline. And I think that it's the same Astrid, but she's had different experiences.
Right.
And so, you know, they've caused her to react in a different way. And the biggest change in her life was the fact that Walter didn't have his son around and never really integrated into, you know, being outside of St. Clair's Hospital very well without Peter there to help get him through it all. And so, you know, it's so interesting to think of, you know, human beings as dominoes. So when they make decisions or behave a certain way, that changes how everybody acts around them. So I think that the Astrid here is like a little bit more short-tempered than in the original timeline, whatever you want to call it, that we were introduced to. However, I think she ends up developing that special relationship with Walter, just under different circumstances, particularly after the events that happen in the finale. So yeah, like, they never had the Snakehead episode in this world, which was like such a fantastic episode. But then they had, you know, but the two Astrids got to meet in this world, which never happened before, and Walter got to meet the alternate Astrid, and I think that gave him a deeper appreciation for this Astrid too. So, you know, it's just like a different set of things that got them to the same place at the end.
Well, speaking of that episode, where you got to meet your alt, are you happy that you got to have it now, especially if there isn't going to be the alt world going forward, that you got to finally at least get introduced to her properly?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you know, I don't read a lot of blogs about the show really, but every once in a while something will kind of come across my computer screen, and there was one that talked about how you know, it was a shame you didn't get to know more about this Astrid, because that whole episode was about alt-astrid. And I thought that was so interesting, because we've had 3 full seasons of this Astrid, and knowing, you know, all the nuances of her character, and you never ever got to see the other Astrid outside of relaying information to other people. So I thought that was a really welcome change, and I love that this Astrid kind of gave that alternate Astrid the space that she needed. It didn't crowd her and wasn't, you know, it's an episode that's written, so there's only so much that the characters can do by themselves, but I just thought that it was a really lovely way to show how this Astrid is so giving and really wanted to just to be careful with, you know, this alternate Astrid, because she doesn't know everything about her, and she wanted her to be as comfortable as she could. And I thought it was really lovely, and I was really, really happy with how the episode turned out. With every single moment of it, I was thrilled, and it was really fun to do too.
Yeah, it was a gorgeously done episode, and we got some more insight into the original Astrid, because we did get to see her relationship with her father for a second there, so there was a little bit of an insight.
Shiitake happens, exactly. Yeah, that was really cool. And yeah, like, that's another thing, that both of their moms had passed away when they were young girls, which had happened to the Astrid in the first time. It's really difficult to talk about all the different versions of these people.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I mean, I've lived it, and I still don't know how to properly designate each space and time for each person.
I feel like you guys are just starting to get a hang of it with the different universes and the alts.
Yeah.
And then you're the new timeline in, and it's like, okay, wait, so now there's a different timeline with the alt, but there's the,
Oh yeah, and we had a future,
right.
don't forget.
Yes.
Which finale. Was a whole other thing, and now we're about to incorporate a whole other a whole other level concept of what Fringe is, which is pretty amazing that they continue to find ways to make each season not the same show that you saw the season before.
Yeah, I mean, if you had just watched the pilot or the first couple episodes of Fringe and then you tuned in now, you would be like, no, seriously, what's going on in this show?
You would absolutely never, even see how they were connected. Obviously, the characters, are similar because they're the same people for the most part, but even, like, anticipating where the show was going to go and seeing the pilot and having it encompass so much more than that, like, it's a sci-fi show, and it's also about love, and it's also about family, and it's also about science, and it's also about big corporations, and it's just really incredible that they've been able to put all this stuff into 4 seasons so far.